Welcome to SEO.divanerasmus.com. Today is the sixth and final part of the 6 parts of building your SEO. Today we will do measure your website, fixing issues, and how to improve your website. Very important part if you want to know how to constantly improve your website and how to actually measure your website before knowing what to improve. And today is step 5. So with part 1, I will explain to you what is SEO. So in part 1 is the only part which doesn't have a step. And that is why we have 5 steps, because the steps start from part number 2. And today we have the final step number 5 and the final part number 6. And this is the SEO roadmap step number 5, measuring and improving your SEO. So just to quickly recap, steps to building SEO. Step number 1 was have a strategy. Step number 2 was a very important part, as I've already mentioned, and that's researching keywords. Step number 3 is creating high quality content with your keywords. Step number 4 is another very important part in these 5 parts, and that's building backlinks to your websites from relevant websites. And then today's final step number 5, and that is making sure your website is functioning properly, how to measure your website performance and how to improve it. Let's continue measuring and maintaining your website SEO. The introduction to improving and maintaining your website, and this is first of all, test your website regularly and ensure your links and website functions are working correctly. So make sure that your website, every single function that you have on your website is working exactly the way it should. Make sure there's no errors. Make sure that your website is functioning as it should be. If not, then it's best to sort out those issues before continuing and trying to measure your website, because if your website isn't functioning, you will not get relevant data if you measure your website. So most important thing is make sure your website is running smoothly, it's running exactly the way it was designed, and sooner or later you'll find out what you want to implement, what you want to add to your website to increase and probably make your website better and more efficient. And that is what we are here to learn today, is how to measure your website and how to improve it. And now you need to find out if your SEO plan and system is succeeding or failing, and that is how we measure it. Secondly, we need to measure the business, and even if you only have a normal website, we need to measure the outcomes and make changes to improve the results. And also the final one is you would need to receive data about your website and what's happening with every visit. Now this is where we'll find out how to do that. So first thing you need to do is make sure you have an analytics solution installed on your website to measure and get the data you need. So we call it analytics solution. It's very important for you to measure your website and what is happening with every visit. And you've got quite a few options and possible analytic options to choose from, and first and the most powerful one is Google Analytics. Very powerful tool, and I personally use that. And then you've got Adobe Omniture Site Catalyst if you are more an Adobe fan, and then we've got Web Trends, and Core Metrics is another one. So you've got 4 options to choose from to be your analytics solution. I could soon make a completely new course, or should I say a short steps on how to actually set up your Google Analytics. But for now, you just need to know that you need to start signing up for your Google Analytics and just know the basics of what you need to do to get your analytics solution installed on your website. So you need to invest time and resources into making sure your analytics is set up and configured correctly and recording the data accurately. So that was the first point that you need to know is you need to install an analytics on your website. Now, the second point that I want you to understand is that define your objectives, your business or other goals, and have key performance indicators, KPIs. So we will call key performance indicators, we'll call them KPIs. That is basically what you want your website to do. What is the reason you have a website, and what is the purpose and the goal for your website? That is what key performance indicators are, is whether or not your goal of your website is being reached. So now you need to decide, what is your website goals. Do you want more people to share you on Facebook? Do you want more traffic? Just knowing about how much traffic you have on your website is also a very good indication of, if showing that you are actually reaching your goal. And then examples of key performance indicators. Now the examples is, like I said, I'll show you everything you need to know, and now I'm going to show you what is key performance indicators and examples of that. And now you want your visitors to fill in a form on your site, and this is what you would need to measure and set up for. And the tool that gives you more information on a keyword and historical insights into. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that if you want to see if someone is filling in a form, that if that is your goal, if your website, if a certain specific page on your website has a goal, and you want your website to actually get more people to fill in a form, then it would be very important for you to measure how many people fill in that form, and measure if people are filling in that form, and if they are not, then why aren't they filling in the form. And then you would need to make adjustments to measure again and see if they are filling in the form more, until you have reached a goal of getting more people to fill in your form, and getting reaching your goal. So the more goals you have for your website, the more KPIs you have to monitor. So with every goal you have for your website, you would have to measure that, and that is common logic, that the more goals you have, the more things you have to measure, the more things you have to look at. And it's important to establish SEO specific KPIs to measure. Now, to elaborate on that, here I'll give you more examples. Is example, measure organic search traffic, not paid for services. So, if you want to know how many of your Google search results are getting traffic, how much traffic are you getting from Google? How much traffic are you getting from the search engines? Then organic search is something that you have to measure and see if you are getting enough traffic or a reasonable amount of traffic, as obviously with time hopefully your organic traffic will grow, because that is the main reason why we are doing SEO. We want our websites to show up in search engines, and our website needs to be relevant to people that want to see our content. So also measure your organic search traffic over time, monthly and yearly, so you can see if it's growing and becoming better. And then non-branded keyword searches. That means that when only keywords not related to your brand is linked to your site and generate traffic. Now, I would say that the keywords that is not related to your brand is 90% of the time is words that doesn't accurately explain your website. That is the best way to explain non-branded keywords, is the words that doesn't, like, for example, my website is about SEO, seo.divanerasmus.com, and if in the search keyword that you can research, and that is with Google Analytics, you will see that there's some words that your website gets traffic from with specific keywords, and those keywords might not have anything to do with SEO or even internet. It's random words, like maybe people. If people shows up in keywords and people click on a search that shows your pages, you can find out if that's so, and how you can actually maybe improve on that and help your website maybe become more people friendly, and maybe helping people what they need to know about people in SEO. Maybe focus on that if you want. And then target keyword rankings to see how well you'll rank for your research keywords. So then you can also see how well your keyword research in step number 2, which is part number 3, how well your keyword research is doing by seeing if the actual keywords that you are ranking for is delivering the results that you want. And that is what you can use the analytics solution for, and that is why measuring your website is very important. And we can see it from these examples. Now you need to measure your visitors when they are using your website. Measure how the traffic you generate succeed in the goals you have for your website, business or other goals. If you are running an e-commerce website, you should focus on these factors: revenue, average order values, and transactional data. Let me just say that I personally do not have an e-commerce website, so for me to explain this to you would not be my strongest point. But you basically have to see and measure how much revenue you're getting, which is obvious, and also how much items you are selling, average order values, and then also transactional data, seeing who buys, what products sells more, why is that, why is the one product better than the other product, how can you improve on the products that are not selling. And that is something that you can look at when you have an e-commerce website. And then even if you don't sell items online, you still have many things to track. You can look at measuring these areas. So these are another example, a list of examples of what you can measure, what your KPIs, key performance indicators can be, your goals can be, and that is getting more subscribers for your newsletter, getting social followers, more social followers, and then also getting more signups, and then also checking and seeing how many people are looking for the driving directions of your business. If you have a company building, then you can actually measure how many people are actually checking and looking for the driving directions to your company. You can also measure the contact forms, as we've mentioned before, see how many people, and actually not just seeing how many, but also helping them, help improve the fact that you get more people filling in your contact forms that you want so desperately to fill in, if that is your goal. And then also you can also measure your phone calls. You can see who's going on, who's finding out what is your contact details. You can measure, who's looking at your contact details, who is trying to contact you. And now improving and measuring your SEO is very important, and it's a cycle that involves these 3 parts. It's measure, take action, learn. You have to measure your website, then you have to take action by improving it. And most of the time, just improving it means changing it and seeing what changes bring the best results, and then learning from it. And that is where you see, what changes have brought you the best results, and if you can improve it further. That is what this cycle is about, and that is measuring, taking action, and learning. These are always the areas you should improve to reach optimal results. Now let's move on. Measuring keywords performance. Important place to start is measuring what keywords bring visitors to your website. So we will go into detail on how to measure your keywords and see what keywords is good for you and good for your website. We will use Google Analytics to measure these keywords and getting data. So first of all, you go to the organic search results in Google Analytics to see data on the traffic. That'll be on your left screen of your Google Analytics. Like I said, I could very soon be making a separate course on how to set up your Google Analytics to show you in more detail and actually like showing you step by step how to do that. But for now, if you want to, just see what I have and try and figure that out for yourself, as it would be very time consuming for me to do every step by step, exactly showing you what I've done, where to look in this course, in this part 6. So, hold on with me. I will soon bring you a course dedicated to Google Analytics and showing you how to set that up for you. And then also select the source option to see which search engines provided the traffic. So first of all, you go to organic search results in Google Analytics to see the data on organic traffic. Then also select the source option to see which search engines provided the traffic. View information on how long people view your site with specific keywords, and also see bounce rate to see if people stay on the page long enough. So you will become familiar with the word bounce rate. And bounce rate is basically how quickly a person viewed a page. So if a page receives a bounce rate of 100, it means they stayed on for a very long time. It means that they actually got what they were looking for. But if a page got a bounce rate of 30, which is almost equivalent of 30%, that means that they did not really get what they wanted, because they didn't really stay on long enough to actually read more, and that means that they didn't get what they expected to get. So a bounce rate is something you have to look at, and then make sure to measure all data on keywords by setting up specific measurements on your website. Make sure to take the time needed to set up your measurements to measure goals you want data on. Find out how to set up or get someone to do it. So like I said, I'll do my best to bring you that information of how to set up your Google Analytics. You'll find lots of information all over the web. But you can also get someone to do it for you. That is absolutely up to you. I recommend that you should do it yourself and know exactly what you're doing. That is the best way to go about it, but it is time consuming, and it is to your advantage to get your Google Analytics showing data, and just getting that data is the most important. And if you can get someone to set it up for you, then I don't see anything wrong with that. And then also know that Google has made a change to the analytics data by hiding visitors when they are searching on Google while logged into their Google accounts. So people logged into the Google account, as you know, if you search with Google, you have the option of logging in to your Gmail, and if you're still logged into your Gmail, then Google will automatically assume that you're logged into Google while doing searches. And these visits will be provided as not provided. These labels for visitors logged in while searching will be labeled as not provided. However, you can still see what pages was viewed and base decisions on what pages and keywords do perform well. So make sure to measure all data on keywords by setting up specific measurements on your website. Make sure to take the time needed to set up your measurement to measure goals you want data on. So I've just repeated that, but just make sure that your Google Analytics is set up properly, and there's so much data that you can read without setting it up. You just need to make sure that your Google Analytics is installed on your website, which is not that tricky. It's not that difficult to install on your website or on your own. And you already have a lot of data to look at, so you don't have to take too much time and worrying about whether or not you need specific setup, because you already have data. You already have, when you are using Google Analytics and you set it up by yourself, you already have data to work with. And if you really want to go further, then you can set up specific data measurements. And that is what we actually want to do, and also find out how to set up or get someone to do it. So I've actually repeated that, but understand that web analytics cannot show you what keywords could perform better for your website. You need to always research new keywords to get better results and data by using new keywords and measuring them. So I hope that is self-explanatory, but when you do, Google Analytics, Google Analytics is not a software that shows you, what other possible, words could have worked better, because that is something that you need to figure out by yourself. You need to figure out what is your company about, what is your website about, what is your blog about, whatever website you have, if it's a business website, if it's an e-commerce website, if it's just a blog, you need to figure out what content you have and what keywords best describe your content and what keywords will best help you rank in Google search. So now we continue. We say link your Google Webmaster to Google Analytics. So Google has many tools, and another tool is Google Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools is a very simple yet complicated program that can link to your Google Analytics, and Google Webmaster Tools on its own can show you if your website has any errors, any crawl errors as they call it. Is there any issues with Google trying to crawl the website and find out what it's all about, to be able to display it in search results. So Google Webmaster Tools is another very important tool to use, and you can link that to Google Analytics. So that's another tool to use, and I'm very happy to have added that, because most people don't even know this. But this will give you additional info that will deliver more data to measure your website, like impressions in search engine results and rank position in search engines and click-through rates. And then focus on impressions and click-through rates. The higher the impressions and with some click-through rates shows that your website is moving up in search results, but not many are clicking your listings. I just need to quickly edit that. Not many are clicking your listings. So even if you have impressions and people aren't clicking it, it still means that, that might mean that you need to improve your title and your description to get better interest and get more clicks. So, that is basically what shows up in Google, search results. What exactly your website is showing with the Google search, and what you can improve on, making sure that your description and your title is the best possible to attract the most visitors, to get them to click on your site. So it's important to measure what happens after you have put in the work to rank on search engines, and um, then it's important to still measure what happens on your website. So that I've already covered. It's important to measure. Now, measuring your links. How do we measure your links? When you have good quality content and websites linking to you, you would want to measure those links and how well your efforts are performing. You can use two tools to measure this performance and results for data. So first of all, we go back to the previous tools I've shown you, that is Open Site Explorer and Majestic SEO. In Open Site Explorer, you can use it. We will check our domain authority, and the more quality links we have gained will increase our authority score. So simple, you do not need Google Analytics to check whether or not your links have gained. You can do that, but that would mean that you would need to set up specific indicators on your Google Analytics, and it might not, have the exact data as you can get in Open Site Explorer. So if you want to see how many links you've gained, use Open Site Explorer, and also check back from time to time to see if your content is gaining more links and building your domain authority. And then also what you can do is view all the external links coming to your website, and if a website you have a relationship with is linking to you, you can ask that they change the anchor text of the link to help with keywords you are focusing on. So please, if you do not know what anchor text is, that is the actual text that is displayed within the link pointing to your website, and that I've already explained in part number 5, and that is step number 4, and that is of backlink building. And then also you could find opportunities of guest authorship and guest content for your website even. So yeah, you can also find out who you can ask to do guest blogging, and you can also find out more ways of getting content to your website if you find out who is linking to you. Also see if there is websites that you don't want to link to you. So what you can do is there's actually an option in your Google Analytics, and I believe in your Webmaster Tools, it's either your Webmaster Tools or your Google Analytics, to actually block those links that are pointing to you if it's a website that you do not want to point at you. And the most common website you don't want to point at you is spammy websites, is websites that has to do with adult material, and all of those websites that are using black hat methods, and that are not good for your content, and you don't want them to be associated with your product or your company or your website or your blog, then you can block them. And also, if you want, contact them and ask them to remove it. But if not, there is another way to control the links you don't want to show up. And like I said, it's very important for you to watch out who links to you, and that is another important point to make, is just checking who is linking to you and making sure that those that you don't want linking to you, you either remove those links by asking them, or you do it yourself. And you've got many options. And then let's go back to Majestic SEO. By going to the backlink history section in Majestic SEO, you can check the history of your website with the history section of Majestic SEO, and see if your website links are really growing, and you can compare it to your your competition, and as this will show you the links you acquired in a monthly, accumulative, or normalized basis. Now you can understand how much links you have grown since you launched your website. So you use Majestic SEO to see where you were and where you are today. It's a very important tool, and then these tools will help you measure your progress and help you to improve your link building. And then measuring social media. Search engines do use social signals to measure rankings. So I've already mentioned this, and that was in my part number 4, and that was part number 5, step number 4, and obviously you would need to also hopefully get people to share your content, and I've already shown you what is the most important thing of having to get people to share, and that is getting quality content. And use this tool to measure social signals. We will see what tool to use, and we call it social crawlytics. The tool you use is social crawlytics, which will measure 8 social media signals, which is Facebook, Twitter, Delicious, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, Dig, Google Plus, and Pinterest. You will see data on what social media sites you are most active on and what social media sites you can work on. So it's very important for you to see where you have a very strong social influence for your product and your website and also your blog, and just improving on that and working in every social area you can. And then having all this data when you create quality content and promoting it will determine how promotable and shareable your content is for people and search engines to find. So like I said, is your bottom line is people, and the search engines measure on how people engage with your content. If your content gets promoted and shared easily, then there's a big chance that your content and your website will rank high in Google search and in any search results. And that in good quality is not only, good for your website, it is good for the well-being of your entire, company, be it, or your entire, future of your website. So it's very important for you to focus on having relevant quality for your website, and making people realize that you have what they need and you are able to deliver. And then that is the end of this sixth part, and that was also the final part of the 6 parts of building SEO. Remember, this is not the end, but the opportunity of activating your SEO. And please go through all the parts if you have any questions, and there will be ways for you to comment and ask by going on my website and asking me about SEO, and I'll do my very best to answer all the questions I can. And then thank you so much for viewing this final part. However, there are many SEO processes to explore, and I would definitely like to keep you updated and keep you in the know of all the possible SEO news and updates you would need to know. And then, however, all these parts I show you are crucial to your SEO. So these 6 parts are your backbone. If you can follow every single part I've shown you in these videos, you would definitely be able to grow a strong, and I truly believe successful website. Thank you so much for viewing my video. I apologize if I was a little bit slow in this video. It's for some reason I've been talking too much today, and to still keep talking, it gives me a little bit of an issue talking and recording today, but hopefully you've got the message and you can check all the information and go through it again to see what you need to do. And thank you so much for viewing.